Good morning, Mountain family. Happy Thursday to you. I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this July 17th, 6 o'clock on the dot this morning, and time to check on in with meteorologist Jim Caldwell for a look at that forecast. Jim, run us through what's going on for our Thursday.
Our first alert weather day continues through the weekend. The reason? Same thing as yesterday. We had some thunderstorms go through the area that had the potential to bring heavy rain and severe elements. Well, the same thing continues out there today. But here's the catch. It's not going to rain every single minute of the day. You'll find periods of sunshine. It will actually be nice. But at that time, it gets a little steamy because you're in between those showers and those thunderstorms. So it's one of those setups. But today, I think the storms are a little more likely into the afternoon and evening hours. So you're going to get the thunderstorms going. Outside of any significant rain, you still get really warm. The potential is there to get up close to 90 degrees again today. Factor in the humidity, and it's going to feel like the mid and upper 90s. So something that we will be evaluating and watching over the coming days.
A woman was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in a 2022 Jackson County murder case. Karen Clemens pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including murder in connection with the death of 83-year-old Mary King Abrams. The incident started in July 2022 when police found Abrams dead inside a home in McKee. KSP later launched an investigation, which resulted in the arrest of Clemens a couple months later. A man in Whitley County was indicted for attempted murder. Ricky Anderson was also indicted on charges of wanton endangerment. This happened back in March when police say he reportedly fired a gun toward his son. According to an arrest citation, after he ran out of ammunition, Anderson went to grab another firearm and fired shots at his son again. Kentucky State Police have identified the trooper who was shot near Bluegrass Airport Sunday. They say Trooper Jude Remlin was shot during a traffic stop on Terminal Drive. He suffered serious injuries after he was shot by Guy House. He was taken to the hospital and is stable. Remlin has been with KSP for 3 years and works with the Frankfurt Post. KSP is grateful for the outpouring of support for the trooper since Sunday. Well, it's been 2 months since a deadly tornado damaged many businesses, homes, and various buildings in southern Kentucky. In Pulaski County, some rebuilding is already underway. For others, it'll be a time-consuming and lengthy project.
And we're still not there. We're still not rebuilt by any stretch of the imagination. But you can see that the community is bouncing back. I don't think we're ever going to look the same again.
The South Kentucky RECC building was likely the largest facility in the county to be damaged. That building effort could take 2 years to complete. Many folks in Laurel County are still recovering from the tornado in May. While many community members have taken steps to recover, there's still a long road ahead to rebuild. Alexa Minton talked with one first responder from Laurel County whose whole life was turned upside down that night to see what things look like for her now, 2 months later.
Nobody ever thinks it'll happen to them. Nobody ever thinks it'll hit them.
PHI air medical teams in London, Kentucky are some of the many people who have felt the weight of the devastation from the May 16th deadly tornado, with their second hangar and base being destroyed. Katie Nelson, a flight nurse with PHI, shared that while the crew is fully operational, the 2 months since the event haven't always been easy.
Nothing about this has been smooth. It's been a lot of adjustment for both bases because now we have double the amount of people. We have 2 aircraft and we're all functioning out of one base.
As a first responder, Nelson said the focus has always been on the community and supporting their service area as folks continue to recover. But for Nelson, the storm impacted more than just her workplace.
It's been a lot more difficult on the family side. My grandparents' house is totally gone. I mean, it totally leveled it. That whole road in their neighborhood, I mean, everything is gone.
Both sets of Nelson's grandparents, as well as her parents, live in the Sunshine Hills area, which was devastated in the storm.
We as kids, used to play at some of those houses, and now they're just completely gone. The first flight that I took coming back here, we flew the whole path of the tornado almost, and that was really difficult. Like, that was a lot more emotional than I anticipated it to be.
And as Nelson's family and workplace continue on to the next months in their road to recovery, she's hoping they can all build back at least a sense of normalcy.
I don't think it'll ever really be back to the way it was. I mean, it's hard to rebuild and totally recover from something like this. It'll be just what's normal for us eventually, just because you get used to it.
In Laurel County, meteorologist Alexa Minton, WKYT.
If you were impacted by the May tornado in Laurel and Pulaski counties, you've got 1 week left to apply for FEMA assistance. FEMA leaders say they've approved more than $2 million throughout Kentucky for this tornado outbreak, as there were other tornadoes in the state. For more information about applying for FEMA disaster assistance, you can visit disasterassistance.gov. As we approach the 3rd anniversary of the July 2022 flood, folks throughout the country are continuing to pour their hearts into Perry County. Volunteers came to the new Skyview High Ground Development site, where the Housing Development Alliance is building homes for flood survivors. Becca Shea came with 7F Global Impact Initiative to volunteer for a second time. She says she's just grateful for the opportunity to build forever homes for folks who need it most.
Just like perfectly designed, the right size space, and I mean, they were doing blow-in insulation, brand new HVAC. Like, they're just going to be maintenance-free homes, which what a gift that is.
Folks with HDA tell us they hope to build 64 homes on the 50-acre Skyview site. An Eastern Kentucky superintendent received a new contract. Perry County School District Kent Campbell got that contract that'll be effective on July 1st, 2026. The contract runs through June of 2030. He's been the school district superintendent since 2023. Governor Andy Beshear was in South Carolina yesterday to promote Kentucky's economic success at a union advocacy rally. The governor stopped in Greenville to speak at the AFL-CIO's 67th annual convention. It's part of a union advocacy tour. Some believe this trip is in preparation for the 2028 presidential race, but the governor did not address these rumors. Governor Beshear will appear at events in Columbia in the next 2 days. After nearly 50 years of service, the Kentucky Equal Justice Center announced its doors will close at the end of July. The nonprofit cites a tough financial climate as the reason. The nonprofit does not have the funding to continue providing legal services to immigrants, refugees, and low-income families anymore. Jackson Cooper says a majority of their clients are seeking citizenship, naturalization, or work visas. He says this legal process can take between 10 to 20 years.
The majority of the folks that we help at Maxwell Street through KJC are folks who are quote unquote doing it the right way. They're working through the legal immigration system.
Cooper says if there are any attorneys willing to volunteer and take over some of these cases, to reach out to him. Earlier this year, Kentucky Senate Bill 181 was signed into law. It says educators can only communicate with students through traceable online platforms designated by their district. But when emergencies happen and educators need to get in contact with students quickly, some tell us the bill does more harm than good. The issue has become a topic of conversation after reports of an active aggressor last Sunday impacting a basketball tournament in Louisville.
And a lot of the biggest problem right now is everyone says, oh, just use the approved app. Well, a lot of districts don't have the approved app in place yet. And even if they do, the students may not necessarily have that on their phone and have not had training on how to use it because we're not back in school.
Sloan says she believes legislators will be revisiting Senate Bill 181, but she doesn't know what changes they do plan to make. Members of Congress and Wall Street are watching the White House closely as the fate of Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell hangs in the air. The president revealed Wednesday he discussed firing the chairman with lawmakers. This as overnight the Senate passed a major bill. CBS News' Erica Brown has more.
On Capitol Hill, the Senate passed President Trump's rescissions bill, clawing back about $9 billion of previously approved funding for foreign aid and public broadcasters PBS and NPR. The bill now heads back to the House, where it faces a Friday deadline for a final vote before reaching the president's desk. During a White House meeting with the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain, President Trump confirmed CBS News reporting that he discussed firing Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell with Republican lawmakers Tuesday.
I talked about the concept of fire him. I said, what do you think? almost every one of them said I should.
The president has been critical of Powell for weeks for not lowering interest rates and expressed concern to reporters about his job performance, taking aim at a $2.5 billion renovation underway at the Federal Reserve.
I think he's terrible. I think he's a total stiff. But the one thing I would have never guessed is that he would be spending $2.5 billion to build a little extension onto the Fed.
Still, the president says he is not planning to fire Powell, and a federal law says the Fed chair can only be removed for cause. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers expressed concerns about the precedent firing a Fed chairman would set and about the economic impact the move could have on financial markets.
The consequence of firing a Fed chair just because political people don't agree with that economic decision will be to undermine the credibility of the United States.
If you fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve, you will see the stock market crash.
Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Now, turning back to the bill that was voted on overnight, President Donald Trump had said to withhold future endorsements from Republican lawmakers who opposed the package.